Today we're going to have some fun. We're also testing out a new feature for presentations. So if you want to, there's a QR code at the top. So if you have your phone and you want to participate, meaning when you scan this code, you actually can have a comment. It will pop up comments on your screen for you to send questions, and then I can actually see them here. It's really an interactive thing. So it's cool. We're a small group, so I'll also just do interactions like this as well. But it's just fun, and I actually get to do this in person, which is nice because normally I'm on the computer doing the webinars. So feel free to scan that. It should just pop right up, and then you can type in things as we go. And it should stay on there as we go through the presentation, which is nice. So yes, as mentioned, I am one of the business advisors. I do a lot with social media and online marketing. Organic. I don't do paid ads. I will answer questions around paid ads, but most of it's organic. Oftentimes what will happen is small businesses will not want to spend the time learning social media, right? And decide, well, I'll just throw some money at ads. But they also aren't spending the time learning the ads, therefore they're flushing money down the toilet most of the time. And it's just a snowball from there. So I like to start with the organic piece, get us educated on it, and understand how to better use it for our business. And then if we desire, we can then always go and do paid ads. So today's goal. These are some questions that hopefully you'll be thinking about and being able to start to answer. You know, are you managing your social media effectively? Are you using the tools that make sense for your business? And we'll be talking about these to help you get a better idea of what that looks like. And then are you promoting your social media channels in all that you do, right? You might have them on receipts, you might have them on your flyers, you might have them on your website. We want to make sure that it's connecting the dots, because it's not just social media or our website or a flyer. It's all of these things combined. So today we're going to be talking about social media overview. We're going to be talking about understanding your target audience, because that's going to help you better decide which platforms to be on. And then we'll also give you some tips around content strategy, because oftentimes business owners will say, I don't know what to post about. I don't know when to post it. And I don't have time to post it. So we're going to be talking about those things. But first, let's get a little social, because it's going to be boring if I'm the only one talking the whole time. So feel free, you can either use that scan code to type it in, or shout out who you are, what you do, and what you want to learn. So we'll spend a couple minutes here just doing this, because this is where I get to know businesses in the room. And I'll give it a few seconds before I call on someone. Anybody want to go first?
I'll start.
Yes.
My name is Jermaine. I'm a local engagement specialist for the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. A whole bunch of words. All that means is I connect business folks like you to resources like Ed.
Love it. Who else? This is a great time for you to promote yourself, FYI. This is why I do it. It's networking. You guys are here during work hours. Yes.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sensu. I think I video in workshop every Monday, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's correct. And my name, my business is Sustain You. We are doing green product.
Oh, cool.
Green business in Solana County.
Yeah.
We are dedicated using waste
Okay.
to making renewable product.
Oh, fantastic.
And the first step, we using rice and corn
Yeah.
to making compostable, biodegradable, and edible
Oh,
straw for people drinking.
okay.
We
Nice.
already have the product. We have inventory. In our housing, we need people to know
More about it.
About it.
Yeah.
We need a sale.
Right.
We need sales representative to find broker and
Yep.
help sales.
So in your case, you could use social media not only to promote the product, but also to advertise that you're looking for somebody to work in sales for that piece.
Because I try to using social media, but it's hard for me. I
Yeah.
am not a technology person. English is my second language.
Yeah.
I'm more challenged for the how to use social media. But I find the people from online, basically from India, from the less paid, but they can build the social media,
Yeah.
technology, but it's difficult to get trust.
Yeah. Well, and the thing too with social media is that there's so many moving parts, right? It's not just Facebook, and you kind of have to learn that, even though that's changing all the time. It's not just Instagram, even though that's changing all the time. That's like constant with Facebook, Instagram, and whatever else you're trying to learn or need to be on or feel like you need to be on, plus the business, the admin stuff, the clients, all the things that go into it, right? So it is challenging. And that's why hopefully after today's session, things will be a little calmer and hopefully a little more clarity will pop up for you. I try to solve all of our problems, but we only have, about 50 minutes. So it will be a challenge. We'll get something. Anybody else want to share out loud before we move on? Yeah. Oh.
Also a filmmaker. After a long career in healthcare, I retired early and transitioned into this field now. And I use social media, but I think I can be much more efficient, particularly around engagement with my viewers.
Yeah.
Getting comments, getting people engaged in what I do. I have interesting content.
Yeah.
But I have to figure out a way to make it more appealing to folks.
Love that. Yes. And by the way, even if you don't shout out now, throughout the whole presentation, you can throw your questions on that QR code so that I can see it and try to answer it as we go. Any other takers? Yeah.
My name is Samuel. I do photography.
Oh, perfect.
So I've been doing like a lot of weddings and birthday parties and like whatever they hire me as like parade or so. So I'm trying to I use Instagram, but I don't know if I should use like other social media like Facebook or YouTube or so.
Perfect. You're in the right spot. And I love that you have that specific Instagram, but now maybe I need to branch out, which is really important to keep that in mind, right? It can be a lot to be trying to do all of the platforms at once. So if you want focus on one, get that going and then start to branch out. So I appreciate that. Yeah.
I'm David Morales. This is my wife, Blanca.
Hi.
So we just opened a restaurant here in American Canyon, Valentina's Kitchen. Everybody's.
Yay.
So we also have a catering company.
Oh, perfect.
For a while, so
yeah.
it's more focused about the restaurant right now.
Okay.
Bring more people in, get to know us.
Yes, definitely.
Get more business.
Yeah. Excellent.
I own a gift shop as well.
Oh, okay.
My goal is to get my book out there, get more volume of sales.
Yeah.
It's great. I wrote 2 books.
Congrats.
Inspirational, motivational, and help lives. I mean, help people stay positive.
Yeah.
So my goal is to market it and get the book, market, get it more out there, basically.
Right. No, I love that. And this is the cool thing is we're going to start to open up hopefully some doors for you, get some tips and tricks for you. That's not the end though. Once we leave here at 4 o'clock, right? Like you can still take this and run with it. And then also if you're connected with the Solano Napa SBDC and you want more, whether it's from me or you're working on something else with your business, from your business plan to other things, we have advisors for that at no cost to you. So just keep that in mind that you're like, ooh, this guy Ed's kind of cool. Let's hang out a little longer. Well, you can sign up for the services, right? All right, so feel free, keep going. If you need to, you can scan that code at any time and drop in your questions. And we will keep this party moving. So first, let's talk about the benefits of social media because let's face it, most of us don't want to be on it. It's a drag, it's too much effort, all the things, right? So there's a few key points here, and the biggest ones are brand awareness and you being able to increase your sales. Think about back before social media, where would you promote yourself? And how much did it cost you to put up a simple post? What I say post, but it could be a flyer. You either put it on the bulletin board at the coffee shop and hope and pray someone sees it, or you would pay to have it displayed in the newspaper, but you'd have to spend a lot of money for that, oftentimes. Now we have social media at our fingertips, and it's free. Because remember, we're not talking about paid ads, we're talking about the free options. And you can do so much more than just that one flyer. You can do photos, you can do video, you can bring your books to life, right? You can do an actual reading of your books, which is really cool. You can showcase the restaurant, showcase menus of what's happening with the catering business, right? There's all these things that you'll be able to do using social media. And even if you're not on a certain platform, so let's just say X, formerly known as Twitter. Let's say you're not into that. You could still have a profile on there with your information, with a post. This is going the extra mile, by the way, but why not? You can have a post on there that says, you can find us at Instagram, or you can find us at Facebook. Like, you don't have to actually be active on that platform, but it is nice to direct your people to where you are active. So basically, you're reserving your space on that platform. And it does increase your website traffic. So as I mentioned before, social media and your website and your flyers and your networking, all of those things go into play. And so you really want to make sure that you have a website and social media profiles. It's not one or the other. The reason why is we have to be online especially is because there's so much happening there. I always round these numbers up. 99% of people are going online before they ever reach you, right? They're going online to search for a local business. They're going online to find the next restaurant that they want to take out and try, right? They're going on Facebook to ask who can cater a wedding this weekend, right? Who can take photos this weekend? So it's really important that we have a presence online because of those reasons. Welcome those who are joining. If you want, the QR code at the top allows you to scan, and you can actually type in questions, and I'll get through them as well, if we're not already interacting. So as I mentioned, you should have your website, but you also need social media. And we're not going to get into it today, but I have to do this, and I have to share it with you. You should have an email list. For those who don't have one, you're like, Ed, what? No, I don't know what that is. It's okay. I'm planting the seed, right? Baby steps. So it's really important to have this, and some of you might already have it built into your systems. For example, you might be using Square for a register. It might already be collecting emails. You maybe don't even know if you've ever sent somebody an email, and that's okay. But at least you're collecting them. Super, super important, especially when things happen that are outside of our control. For example, when COVID hit, I know we don't want to go back there, but when COVID hit, if you had doors that used to be open, they were closed. So how do you connect with your customers? Hope and pray that they'll see it on Facebook? That's really all you did, unless you had an email list. That's when you can directly let them know, hey, we're closed. We're going to be open, XYZ. We're doing to-go orders, anything like that. So it's really, really important to have an email list, even if you're not using it yet. So, yes?
If you don't mind, I'd like to plug your email list.
Oh, please.
For, just a second.
Yeah.
In another life, I work in a large, humongous hospital system. And we're having the toughest time getting our patients scheduled. Follow-up appointments. Tough time reaching them. We started creating an email list, a personal contact email list. Our scheduling increased by 80%.
Ooh.
Over our phone calls and over our letter mailing,
yeah.
Email list increased it by
Oh, I love that you shared that. Thank you so much. That's what we love to hear. And for some of you, you might also include texting. That's another thing. You don't have to do that, but we're just planting the seed. But email list, as you can see right there, is a great example, and it's really important. For most small businesses, the top 3 platforms are going to be these guys: Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Now, you might be like, what, LinkedIn? What? I haven't touched that in 10 years. I don't even know my login. I gotta dust that off. And that's okay, but it's really important to make sure that you're on these platforms. Again, you may not be posting on LinkedIn, for example, like we were talking about with Twitter/X, but you should still have an updated profile image, an updated title that goes below your name, and your contact info updated. Because we don't know when our customers are looking for us. We don't know where they're starting their search. We don't know where they're ending their search. We have to leave these breadcrumbs everywhere. I know it's a lot of work, but when we start to make a list and we go through it, we can check it off. So these are the big ones. And plus, Facebook and Instagram, Facebook owns Instagram, but Facebook and Instagram have a lot of people on there. And Facebook, whether you love or hate it, it still has the most daily active users, meaning people are checking the platform multiple times throughout the day. So you want to use these platforms and you want to post on them. And it can be the same content, just at different times if you wanted to. And we'll talk more about that in a second. I will also mention these. Again, we won't dive into these, but to plant the seed, if you do have a Google My Business option, you should have that because it's Google. It's the #1 search engine. People are going to find you. It's going to pop up on there. TikTok, love it or hate it, it is a very popular platform. We won't even get into any of the news stuff, but just to know that it's a very popular platform. It is primarily video-based. It does offer other things these days, but it is primarily video-based. And because we're in a world where video is key to small businesses, it's important to know our different options. Like, we're using YouTube. We can post videos on Instagram. We can post videos on Facebook. We can post videos on LinkedIn. We also can post them on TikTok and X and all these other platforms. So even if you're not comfortable being on video, we can get you there. But even if you're not comfortable on video, it's important to know that it is required of business these days. There are ways around showing your face on video, although we do want to see your smiling faces. And you created a business. Not a lot of people will do that. And so they want to know who is the crazy one behind all of this, right? Because we're crazy. I have my own business too. I know how it goes. So it's really important to understand that video is a key piece of the puzzle, just like social media, just like your website, and it allows you to bring your business alive online. You know, like we were talking about, the gentleman in the back has 2 books he's written. He could now take one of those books and start doing a reading on video to promote those books, right? And he can post it on Facebook, he can post it on Instagram, he can post it on LinkedIn or TikTok or wherever. And you'd be surprised at how engaging that is compared to just snapping a photo of, let's say, chapter 1, the page, which you can also do. It's a mixture of these things. Yes? For most small business owners, it is, but they may not want to use it, or they may, they just maybe didn't claim it yet, or they're just like, I don't want another thing. But yes, you should get a Google My Business if possible. So you want to think about this on any of the platforms. When was the last time you updated your profile? So just in your head, think about that. You'll probably want to write it down or type a note in your phone. Update profiles when you get home today, because it's so important to have the correct information across the board. Like we said, we don't know where our audience is going to search, start their search or end their search. Yes?
having a company and having all consistent messaging is finding consistent social handles on each one because
Yeah.
I thought it was unique, but when I searched in the databases for the names already taken, because I would like to have the same name across each platform,
Yes.
I just found it very difficult.
Yeah. So
to
what?
do that.
Yeah. So what he's talking about is when you create an account on any of these platforms, you have the option to create a username, right? An account name there that you can share. However, somebody might already have that. Even if you are like, what? How can anybody have this? This is like mine, and this is, who would think this? And so it can be really challenging because somebody has it or has a hold on it. So therefore, you have to get creative and come up with different things that maybe are similar. So like on Instagram, it might be, your business name, but on Facebook, it's your business dot name, right? And it gets a little complicated. So it is challenging. So that's why I say too, when you can, try to reserve your name on all the platforms the best you can, and then try to keep it as close as you can when you're creating new accounts. I will say even with my Instagram, I had my business name, but after 7 years, Instagram closed my account for no reason. It was active. I was fine in good standing, but they had a bunch of glitches happening in a December a couple years ago. And my account unfortunately got pulled into that, and I lost it all, 7 years worth. Thankfully, I don't rely on Instagram, but I know a lot of small businesses who do, which is why I stress the importance of a website and multiple channels. And I never got that back. So that username, I never got back. So what I had to do was create a new account, put the same username, but I added IG at the end. So my thinking was, in case somebody did go to Instagram looking up my business name, it would still pull up my profile because it looks the same until you get to the IG. So, you kind of have to get a little creative with that. So think about when the last time was that you updated your profile, and then you want to make sure that you're updating your socials when you're taking a look at your marketing. Like, do a little audit for yourself. Set specific goals, and I'll have a couple examples around this for you to help with that, because getting more followers could be a goal, but I'm going to kind of squash that. It's not really that great of a goal, because these days it doesn't really mean anything unless you're on a specific platform currently, like TikTok, where you're trying to go live, and most of the profiles you have to have 1,000 subscribers or followers. But there's minimal things like that now. You want to look at what are your systems and processes that you have in place when you are talking about social media. And that's just fancy terms for have a pen and paper and write down step 1, Facebook. What do you do with Facebook? I post, I use maybe a scheduling tool, anything like that. Don't get too complicated. It's just to help you organize. I highly suggest a routine marketing meeting, even if you're a party of one. Even if you're I'm the only one running this business, I got admin stuff, I got clients, I got all these things, I got social. How am I going to have time for that? Plus I have a family. I know, I get it. It's a lot. But if you put in time on your calendar for a marketing meeting, once a week, once a month, once a quarter, I probably wouldn't go past that, just because, again, you want to have it more consistent, especially in the beginning. But have something so that you can take the time to pause. Are your profiles updated? What are you posting? Are you posting something that is working? What wins did you have, right? Did you get engagement? Did you not get engagement? That's a great time. I will say too, for those who are fortunate enough to have team members, especially ones that interact with the clients or customers, like at the restaurant, this is a great thing to do because 1, you're getting your team together. 2, you can now have them share the experiences that they're hearing from the customers that are going to help you with your marketing efforts, whether social media or beyond. So it's really, really cool to have this built into your business, whether you're solo or you have a team. And like I said, put time on your calendar for brainstorming things. A lot of times what happens with small business owners is they get stressed out because they have to be on social media and it's Monday, I have to post something, I have no idea what to post. And even though it sounds simple, I have to post, you have to think of the idea, you have to take a photo or a video, you have to create a caption, maybe even add hashtags, which is a whole nother ballgame, right? And then you got to think, oh, is 10 a.m. the right time for me to post this? I can't do it at 10:30. I got to go. Like, I'm done. And so then you just don't post. But when you put this in your calendar and you break this up, maybe Monday for 10 minutes or 30 minutes, you're brainstorming ideas. Maybe Tuesday, you're taking the photo or the video. Maybe Wednesday, you're creating the caption. And maybe Thursday, you're posting. And when I say post on Thursdays, I don't mean you have to actually post it on Thursdays. You might use a tool, we call it a scheduling tool, to schedule it to go out on a different day later in the week or the month. But we want to break it down. We want to be able to get as simple as possible so that we can get it done. Because then once we get it done, we'll build momentum. So here's just a couple things that I like to break out in terms of goals, CTA, which is a call to action, post frequencies, and how you can start to measure your efforts. So a couple things to mention off of this slide out loud. Like I said, increasing your followers by X amount, yes, that's a goal, and yes, that is more specific versus if I just said I want to grow my followers. That means nothing, right? But if I say I want to grow my followers by 100, that's more specific. But a better goal is going to be something like, I want to sell X amount of dishes this week, or I want to have X amount of gigs lined up, or I want to have X amount of events registrations. Because now, one, you're putting it out into the universe, but two, you have something that you can actually measure when you do those marketing meetings. When you're talking to your team, hey, FYI, this week we're trying to sell this many dishes, so please let us know. Maybe you have a scoreboard in the back. Maybe you have, a texting line, whatever may work. There's so many options. But we just want to think about how can we get more specific. When we're thinking about the CTA, the call to action, it's important that we include something in our posts. So when you post that photo of you hanging out at, in front of this college here, because you're at the SBDC day, right? You take a picture and you're like, cool, I'm here. And then you can put in that caption a call to action. Maybe it's, what does your day look like? Or where are you located, right? Like, this is just a random post that we're posting. But the point is that you want to have a call to action, because if you don't, we're just going to keep zooming by. We're just going to keep scrolling, right? Oh, nice photo of you at the college. Great. Keep going. But if we put something there to stop them, that's how we can start to get engagement. Same with on the YouTube for the podcast. You might have in the caption, drop your comments below. That's a call to action, but it's a broad one, right? So you might get more specific on, and it would depend on your goals, but you would get more specific on, at 2:15 in the video, what shocked you? Now you're like, well, what's at 2:15 in the video? Am I going to be shocked? And I go watch it and I'm like, oh, yes. And I go and type in the comments, right? So it's sparking that curiosity and trying to get as specific as possible, which the goals will help us get more specific in our call to action. Then when we're talking about posting frequency, these are different options for you, but you're probably not going to go past once a week. Most businesses probably will not go past once a week, meaning you're only posting once a month. We need to get that going a little bit more. So bare minimum, my suggestion for anyone is once a week. Now, that doesn't mean you can go run out of here and say, well, Ed told me I only have to post once a week, so I'm good, check. No, that was the bare minimum. We got to build that habit. Once you start to do that, then you will start to increase it. And then you'll probably be like, 5 times a day. Just kidding. And then for measuring it, plus you really don't need to be posting 5 times a day. So for measuring, you can get data analytics from these tools. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, they all have some information that they'll give you. Of course, if you're not posting, you don't get any info because you have to post. You can also use third-party programs like we were talking about, social media scheduling tools. A lot of them will have the data presented in a more organized and clear way for you to understand it. And plus, it's not on, let's say, Facebook, which if you don't like Facebook, you don't want to see anything, even if it is organized, right? So it's a nice alternative. And then, like we said, having those routine meetings. Daily might be a lot, but you never know. Depending on your goals and depending on what you have going on in your business, it might help with that. So now that we know that, who is our audience? And you might already have a good idea about who they are, and we'll take a look here in a second at another slide where we can determine where they're at online. But really think about their age, their location, their behaviors, and then are they on social media? And if so, where? Because yes, we all are, quote, on social media, but are we active, right? Are we paying attention to it? So, and for some, your demographic maybe is not on Instagram, right? I know a lot of small businesses who are like, well, I don't like Facebook, so I'm doing Instagram and I'm posting on Instagram, but I'm not getting a whole lot of traction. But their audience is a more mature crowd who are hanging out on Facebook, which is why you're not getting any traction on Instagram. You should still, of course, keep that going to attract others, but just know your audience is over here for a different reason. Yes.
I get more customers from Facebook than Instagram.
Yep.
Because Instagram is more like for younger people.
Right.
And my business is more like for parents, like my older people, so I get more. And then the time regarding what you said, I'm posting once a week versus I do it like at night because that's when my age goes on Facebook, like when we're at the end of the day at bed or when you go on Facebook, and that's when I post things.
I love that you brought that up. I will say I also noticed that on my Facebook account that usually I get more engagement after 9 p.m. I will also say that I do the scrolling too at that time. Okay, little personal, but TikTok, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. is usually my scroll time. I can just endlessly go and learn. So, that's just kind of like my chill out time. But you're right. It's knowing our audience and having that there. And so this is just to give you an idea of breaking that down and putting that into play here. So Lee, she's 45. She's here in Vallejo. She's on Instagram and Facebook, but she's on it for 2 different reasons. She's on Instagram to shop for what to buy. She's on Facebook to look up local events, where to go. Chances are she's not checking Facebook until Thursday or Friday for the weekend, right? That's also another reason why it's important, especially if you have any events, to be on Facebook, because Facebook events is amazing. Don't tell them I said that, but they're amazing, and it's free for you to post your event, and it will actually organically be pushed out to others when somebody says interested or going. It's the most magical thing ever. Thankfully, Facebook has not screwed that up yet. So when we're talking about what to post, mix it up. Have your photos. Have multiple photos. We call those a carousel these days. Have video. anything you can do around video. I don't care if the video sucks or if it's this huge production that you put together. Post it. When I was coming here today, I literally just grabbed my phone, slid open the camera, hit video, recorded the ground coming up to the doors, those 2 doors that open up there. That's all I did. I also caught a little side of the signage for the college. Did I do anything with it yet? No. You may notice I have my phone right here. I'm recording me presenting so that I can take a clip of that, put it together with those 2 other clips, and then boom, there's a social media post. But I didn't have to think about it. I just opened it. And you'll get there if you're not there yet. But I just had to do a couple snippets. Again, it's getting in the habit of doing the action, and then you'll start to piece things together. You may just take some photos or videos today and not do anything with them, and that's okay. But you already changed how you thought. Yeah?
Do you recommend any of your editing, any specific editing, like you said, splice that together and make a nice little video?
I do, and I'll have a couple for you coming up. Yeah, I like that. And so, yes, so when you're thinking about your posts, these are items that you can share. Frequently asked questions, that FAQ. At the end of the day, even if you just started a business or maybe you're not in business yet, FAQ is going to be your best friend. You can find that on Google, even if you've never talked to a customer about whatever it is you're doing. Start creating what we call a content library. Snap the photo, snap the video, jot the questions down, and then start to use that later. Again, we're breaking it down to the simplest form. How can we do something today and start to build on that? Also, when it comes to sharing reviews, just a quick tip on that. When you're sharing a review, it's typical to say client review or customer review as the headline. Squash that. Pull something out of that review for that headline. Best restaurant in American Canyon. Oh, sparks your curiosity, right? Best wine in Napa. Whatever it is your business, somebody said something in that review that you can pull out and make that the headline, not customer review. Because at the end of the day, nobody cares. We got to get them curious, right? So these are just some suggestions. They're not just for you. Millions of people have seen this thanks to CoSchedule, which is a scheduling tool. So if you're stressed out about what time to post, don't be, but if you still are, try some of these and see what happens. Again, they're not always going to work for you and your audience. Just like we were talking about over here, 9 p.m. It's a great time. You might go home and start posting at 9 p.m. and in a couple weeks look at your data and be like, 9 p.m. is the worst time for me. I get nothing. But 9 a.m. might work for you. So just keep this as a guideline. And when you think about the days of the week, that makes sense for most of them, I will say. If you're thinking about, let's say, LinkedIn, chances are anything from Monday or Friday or Saturday and Sunday are probably not going to do that great compared to Tuesday through Thursday because of business. And that's when Monday they're slammed with catching up over the weekend. Friday, they want to get to the weekend, right? So we have to keep those things in mind. So here's some tools that we were going to talk about. When you're thinking about your business, Canva, yes? That I don't know. Brianna will have more information about that, so you can check with her afterwards. Great question. So for Canva, which is what I'm currently using, you can start with a free account. If you had to bump it to the paid account, it's like $15. It's one of the best $15 you'll ever spend in your business because you can create slideshows, you can create social media posts. It does have a scheduling tool built in, so it can schedule posts to some of your social media accounts. CapCut is one of the popular video editing apps right now. It's great. You can download it on your phone. It has so much in it, but it's also user-friendly. So you don't have to be a video editor to try to figure it out. And it's a lot of just tap and go, and then you can kind of see what happens with it. And add music, slides, I mean, stickers, you can add a lot in there. And then I just have to touch on AI, which is, in this case, GPT, because we're in a world where AI is everywhere. And you've either heard the name or you're going to hear the name, and it's important to understand that the tools are available for you. It's a way for you to help be more creative. If you're like, I don't feel creative, I'm not sure what to post, I don't know, how do I want to position this? It's a fun tool. Have you used it?
I actually made a jingle.
Yeah.
Using ChatGPT because I could not think. I said, give me a jingle about this to this song. And
Ooh.
So many jingles.
I like that. Yes. So ChatGPT is a great creative tool to help you think through things in your business, especially if it's just you. Yeah.
I actually used it today. Someone texted me about my services, and I put the text in ChatGPT, and it gave me a response to put into the text thread.
Yes.
I also have my son use it to help him with his homework.
Of course. Yes, yes, yes. And so here's the cool thing, too. Just like what you were doing. I'm sorry, what's your name? Michelle. Just like what Michelle did. You can take something, let's say you got a customer review, right? And you're like, oh, I don't know how to respond to this because maybe it wasn't that great. Or you're just like lost for words because it was so great. So you can take that, pop it into this tool, and ask it, talk to it like a human, and ask it, I got this review for my restaurant. Help me understand how to respond. You don't have to say that, but you can say, here's my review from a customer. How should I respond? It's going to spit back information at you. You don't have to take that specifically word for word. You can review it, copy, paste, edit somewhere else, or say, that's great, but I want it to sound more friendly, or I want it to do X, Y, Z. Have a chat with it. And usually the third or fourth response, it can really help with that. Sometimes the first one will be good enough, right? And then you just put your own spin on it. But play around with it because it is helpful and it's important because it's where we are at these days. Some more tools and tips to share with you. When we talked about scheduling tools, Later.com is a popular one. Hootsuite, Buffer. There are so many out there, so those are just a couple to get you started. But if you really wanted to know, you can go to Google and type in best social media scheduling tools, and you'll get a list of articles that will have these broken down. Most of them do the exact same thing. Some will have various features. Some may not post to Google My Business, but there are some that do. So if that is a platform that you're trying to post more on, that's something you would look at when you're researching. You can also, as I mentioned, find answers on google.com for that FAQ that you were thinking about posting later. But you can also go to answerthepublic.com and type in your industry, what you do, and it will spit out questions that people have asked, that are asking. And I think they still give you 3 questions a day, possibly. So they'll tell you when you're on there. But it's just fun to learn and understand it a little bit and then use that again for marketing. If you're trying to get organized, I highly, highly suggest getting a project management tool. That's a fancy term for having everything in one place. And Trello is a very popular one. Notion's technically not a project management tool, but it is a organization tool. But Trello can really help your business out. I have worked with our SBDC clients on getting Trello set up to help them with organizing things, whether it's just client database or trying to figure out your marketing. Everything can be in one place and it's with you all the time. It's your computer, your phone, wherever you go. It's not that notebook on top of the other 20 notebooks that have ideas, right? Selfie stick tripod. I know this is crazy, but this is gonna be your best friend. That's what it is. Right there, holding up my phone. Because when you're out and about, You need to capture the moment. And sometimes you don't have somebody with you to hold your phone. So that's what that does. It can go higher, it can go lower. It has a remote. Those are like 20 bucks. 25 maybe. Yeah.
For an aspect ratio, it seems like Instagram now it's the 9:16 and the mobile type.
Yeah.
More so than the square videos like they used to be.
Yep, exactly. So right now I'm in landscape mode. So my phone is sideways. That's going to be good for repurposing that video specifically to YouTube, if that was my intent for it, because it fills up the whole screen. Vertical, which is where you hold your phone normally, that's going to be more specific for Facebook, Instagram, well, somewhat LinkedIn, but Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, because we have our reels, our short form videos, and those are in vertical format. So if we post that on YouTube, so let's say we take the vertical and we post it on YouTube, it's going to have black bars on the side. So if you've ever seen a video on YouTube that has black bars, it's because it was filmed vertically versus horizontally. So it just depends on how you want. And then a lot of these editing tools will allow you to crop it and do things. So that's why it doesn't really matter unless you have a specific, like it's YouTube first, and then that helps with the editing process. And then like we talked about, posting consistently, engaging with others. If somebody engages on your post, even if it's thank you, or this is a great post, or even if it's a negative one, if it's negative, don't post in the moment. Breathe, come back to it, ask ChatGPT how you want to respond. But make sure you are engaging, because every comment counts, and that helps your post get seen by more people. So if someone says thank you, take the time to click over and say thank you at the very least. But it's also an opportunity, depending on what they said, to strike up more business conversation, right? So maybe we saw the wedding photos and we're like, that looks like an amazing wedding. Where is that? Then he can respond, it's in Napa, blah, blah, blah. Are you looking for a venue? You can, depending on how that conversation is, you can start to plug things in. Oh, that is awesome. What's your favorite part about XYZ? What did you like about this dish? Do you want to come in tonight? We have reservations open. I can put you down for 5:30, right? Like, even if they don't respond, take that extra step, because it will help you with your engagement and reach, but also everyone who I call our secret followers, who are browsing the comments, who are browsing our posts, but never like, comment, or share it, right? They're all out there. So keep that going, and then make sure that you're integrating it with your website, like we talked about. Website, social media, email list, even if you don't have one, planting the seed. And then you can repurpose your content elsewhere, whether it's another channel. So if you post on Facebook all the time, you start to move it to Instagram, or you start to share it in your, wait for it, email list. Yes. Or you post it on your website. Like, there's so many ways that you can repurpose your content. Do you have to do all of the content? No. You can pick and choose. And then if you're going to do paid ads, like I said, we're not talking about that today, but if you're going to, please make sure that you either are researching it yourself and or you're getting an expert on it. I'm not your expert on that piece, sorry. But do not do it on your own unless you've researched it, because a lot of small business owners will waste a lot of money on ads that don't work because they didn't take the time to learn how to do it, and now they're in the hole. So here's your action plan for today, since we threw a lot at you as we wrap it up. Yeah?
You mentioned video and the selfie stick a few times.
Yes.
I believe California is a single consent state. So have you run into any issues where people have been concerned that they're going to appear on, or their voice is going to appear on your video?
Great question. I have not. I know that I was at the public library downtown in Santa Rosa recently doing an event, and for their rules and regulations, what they have, they ask people when they come in if they want to be filmed or not, because they'll do it, and then they'll put a sticker on them, so that's part of their procedure. So it depends on the organization and what the business wants and how they put that. Another business has a restaurant that they're going to start doing more videos, and so they were asking the same question. For the most part, people are used to it. They don't care. If they do, they're going to make sure that you know it for that piece of it. And then it just depends on, those special events and things like that as well. Yeah, great question. Yeah.
A little bit regarding that, the music. Sometimes I'm
Yeah.
scared to do videos at the shop because I'm scared of the copyright.
Great question. So if you're doing music, because you have music playing in the background at your shop or restaurant, and video, if possible, turn down the music a little bit so it's harder to hear, especially in a restaurant. I've done a lot of restaurant videos, and it may be loud in the restaurant, but on the video, it's the actual echoes and stuff. The other thing too is, even if you can't turn down the audio there, it depends on where you post. Facebook is really touchy on that, and they'll mute the audio real quick. Whereas on Instagram, TikTok, and sometimes YouTube, you can get a little more away with it. It just really depends on how high that is in the background. Also on some of these editing apps, you might be able to lower that depending on the audio piece of it. When it comes to recording your videos with the music in the background, and you're worried about that, try not to have somebody talking. So for example, if we were playing music right now, and let's just say, it's copyrighted music, and I'm talking, that would not be good to repurpose because it would get muted on Facebook. So then all you're going to see is me talking, but no words, which, by the way, can be very cool for your social media post if that's the intent where you're putting text on that screen. So at the end of the day, you can still make it work, but when it comes to the copyrighted music especially, and sometimes live music, again on Facebook, I hear this more than other platforms, that's where it can get muted for 1,000,001 reasons. So it's really hard to do that. But test it and see, especially if you're going on Facebook, I would try to either lower the background music or maybe get a microphone so that way you can have it. Like right now I have this microphone, so this is pretty good. It's only really picking up my voice. It's not picking up anything else out here.
I see that some big other videos, they put like, I don't have rights for copyright or something. Will that help if you type that?
Possibly, probably not, but possibly, because there are some music out there. There is some music out there that you can add to your video for free, but it's required that you put copyright is so-and-so, or this is from so-and-so. So it really depends on the platform and where you got the audio for that piece of it. Yeah, the music, it can be really challenging.
What about the songs that they have already on there?
Yep, you can add those and post it on that platform. Saving that video later, though, with that music is probably not going to happen unless you're on TikTok. But Facebook and Instagram usually mutes it so that it doesn't have that. Yeah, they're pretty touchy on that one.
Photos on Unsplash?
You can use Unsplash photos. Yeah, unless they tell you specifically that you need to copyright, add a copyright wherever you're posting it. Yeah. So just real quick as we wrap up. So again, make time weekly to do something with your social media. Again, you break it down, brainstorm, create your content, post it. Doesn't have to happen all in one day. After today, I want you to brainstorm 4 to 8 ideas. Super, super simple. You might already have it done before you go home tonight. I know I'm giving you homework like I'm your teacher. But 4 to 8 ideas, because if you're literally only posting once per week, again, bare minimum, don't go posting telling everyone that Ed told me only once a week and I'll be a millionaire. If you're only posting once a week, that's 1 or 2 months worth of content right there. It's pretty crazy, right? And then again, make sure that you're including that CTA, which is your call to action. Reply to your comments and have those marketing meetings, even if it's just you. And then I always say these are your 3 keys to success. Show up, deliver, and engage. Because that's all you can do, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be done. And the more that you do it, the more reps that you put in, the more you will start to see the return on that. And typically, it's not going to happen in the way that you think, right? Most people will see their business grow outside of the likes and the comments and the shares. They get the messages, they get the emails, they get the calls, but they don't directly relate it back to, well, you didn't comment on my post from Monday at 9 p.m., so it didn't work. No, think of it as that bulletin board at that coffee shop. Your job is to post it and see what happens, and then engage with others.
I have an app that's
Yeah.
called Meta Business.
Yep.
That, like, all the questions or comments go into there.
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.
And then you can do it from that.
Helps me.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And that will happen depending on if you're using the Meta suite from Facebook or you use a social media scheduling tool. There's a ways to get it all in one spot, which can be helpful. Like I said, this is just planting the seed. I'm wrapping up here, and if you have questions, I'll be hanging out around here for a little longer. But again, you can request services from the Solano Napa SBDC and get partnered with myself on this topic, or if you have other things in your business that you need support with, we have other advisors who are available to help support you, so that way you're not alone. And if you were curious, because I know that came up earlier about workshops that we're going to be having, just join the email list. You might already be on there. If not, you can join it for Solano Napa, so that way you'll get updates for all of our workshops, but especially the ones that I'll be doing, I believe, coming up in May or June. So you can stay tuned for that. And with that, I thank you all. Yes?
I have a question. I know you said post once a week.
Minimum, yes.
Minimum?
Yes. Yeah. See, I told you. Yes. Yeah.
Because if you post 3-4 times a week,
Right.
and I know some people, they posting every day, 2-3 times a day.
Yep. And so,
And they call it using the black mamba. They like the Kobe concept. So
yeah, the more that you can post, yes, the better. Don't have to go 3 to 5 times a day, especially most small businesses are probably not going to be doing that. But if you're finding it hard to post in general and to get on a schedule, that's where I'm backing us up and saying start with once a week. Then once we get comfortable with doing that once a week, we're building up that repetition, and now it's like, I got this. I'm feeling it today. I'm going to be posting. Done. I got 2 this week, So that's where we'll build that up. But yes, minimum once a week. I'm glad you asked that question to make sure we all knew that.
I do it 3 times a week, and I take the picture the same day, but split it during the week.
Yes. Yeah,
That's what I do.
exactly. Yep. Split it up as much as possible. So for that, I'm going to turn it back over to you. I appreciate you all being here today. Thank you so much.